Hi everybody, welcome back to COVID-19, the opportunities you didn't think of. I am your host, Casey Wallace, and today we have Steve Gallegos. He is a life coach, inspirational coach, powerhouse gentleman who helps people move their obstacles out of their own way, assisting everybody to reach their potential of magnificence and joy in their life. Of course, we all not only are desiring that, but thanks to people like Steve, we are achieving that in this lifetime. And we brought Steve forth, number one, because of who he is. We've had him on some of our other shows and have such a great response to him. But we really know that you're going to be able to get into his energy space and really appreciate some of the dialogue that he's going to be able to provide for you and for all of us at this time. And Steve, thanks so much for answering the call so quickly and stepping up forth for this program. We know that this is important for you as well, to get out and be able to help secure people in a better place for themselves during this time.
Well, I just love the opportunity to serve, number one. And, just like the reason that I joined the Marine Corps and became a police officer is because I'm still a first responder, even though I don't wear the uniform anymore. I've just changed uniforms. And when a call goes out from folks as powerful and impactful as you and Brad, it's just amazing opportunity to serve. So thank you.
Well, I know that you have transformed so many people's lives in what you do and what you are inspired to be in this journey, this time around. And right now is really the outcry for so many people for that type of inspiration and that type of power. A lot of people are stepping up and answering their own personal call to be the leaders, to be the practitioners and the transformational coaches at this time. So it's a really, really exciting time. I know you've got to be super, super busy. Let's explain to the audience a little bit, Steve, for those who may not know you, a little bit about what you do, and then let you kind of get into a dialogue of just doing your thing for everybody.
Perfect. Thank you for that opportunity. What I do currently is I'm on a single-minded mission to help others live remarkably. And what does that mean? To me, Live Remarkably has three pillars. And number one, the first pillar is self-mastery. And that has to do with our thoughts, our decisions, and the actions which we take based on those thoughts and decisions. When we're able to dominate that, when we're able to think through those debilitating thoughts, those thoughts of fear and struggle and lack and those things, and then make the proper decisions and pursue the right actions based upon where we want to go, not where we think we are or where we've been, then we achieve a level of self-mastery. But that's just the first part of it. The second part of it is that we need to be able to communicate. And so we need to develop communications mastery. And this is the second prong, because you can be the wisest, smartest, most together person. Yet, if you don't know how to communicate your message, if you don't know how to ask for what it is that you want, whether you're seeking investment dollars from a investor group, or you're wanting donations for your charity, or you're seeking to raise money for your business, or you're wanting your employees just to show up on time, right? Or you want your kids to do certain things, or your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend to do certain things. You need to be able to, number one, communicate it, express yourself, to be understood. And that's the communication. That's the second pillar of what I teach. And the third, which goes hand in hand with the first two, is relationship mastery. Brad and Casey, you guys know more than anyone else is that everything that we want comes from other people, whether it's money, relationship, whether it's money, love, a job. We want opportunities, we want comfort, we want companionship, we want sex, whatever it is that we want, we get it from another person. Obviously, there's some internal things that you have to do first in order to attract and receive those things that you want. But generally, it doesn't come from the tree. It doesn't come from, unless it is you want sap, okay? If you want maple syrup, then it comes from the tree. But generally, most of the things that we want as human beings that we deal with in our daily lives comes from other people. And so we need to be able to relate. But the relationship first starts with you. How do you relate to yourself? And that is going to impact then how you relate to those in your world, those out in the marketplace, etc. So that's what I teach. And I work with all kinds of people all over the world, primarily with executives and high performers, people in leadership positions that are wanting to do better. And all of a sudden they get to this point in life where they find themselves in a rut or challenged with distractions, and those distractions could be anything from addictions, from affairs, to just challenges that, am I doing the right thing here? Am I making the right decision? The daily challenges, right, that just are we are so faced with, and especially now in the time of this virus. And Casey, you brought up the fact that we find ourselves in this weird, strange time in our lives that, wow, not just a small handful of people are being impacted, but the whole world is being impacted. And we are each being impacted at one degree or another. And let's not fool ourselves by thinking that it's only happening to us, or it's only happening to the lower socioeconomic class, or the middle class, or the higher class. Everybody is being affected, from the richest man, Bill Gates, to Warren Buffett, Tony Robbins of the world. The Dalai Lama is being affected. All your government leaders are being affected, right? The most powerful people in the world are being affected. And yet, the most seemingly, and I say seemingly because no one is insignificant, but in the realm of what we have, this societal construct of hierarchies, the seemingly insignificant people, the janitors, the people that service our food, the cashiers, the street cleaners, the garbage, the people that pick up garbage, right? The unseen folks, the homeless, everyone is being affected. But the impact of that effect has to do with where we are and where we want to go. So in this environment, understand that everyone is being affected. You are not alone. That's a good thing. Okay. You're not alone, because if you're not alone, that means you can simply look out to a bunch of people that have decided, like Casey and Brad, for example, take what they've done and they've stepped up their game even more during a time like this, right? They have fears, I'm sure. It's like, oh my gosh, is the government going to come in and take our house? Are we going to, because it could, right? In the realm of possibilities, the governments could come in and say, we are just going to take everything and we're going to control everything. Some people think that's a possibility. Is it reality? I don't know. But if we fall into that trap of thinking, oh my gosh, the sky's falling and we're all doomed to despair and to suffer and to struggle and those kinds of things, there are a lot of people that are sharing that message and that have that belief. And you can choose to go that if that's what makes you feel good. But if it doesn't make you feel good, then you want to choose another belief. You want to choose another path. You want to choose another course. What feels good for you? So if during a time like this, if being in fear, if being in lack, if being apprehensive about, what you're going to do the very next day in your life, if that makes you feel good because you get all kinds of attention from your family and your loved ones, and oh, don't worry, honey, it's going to be okay. A lot of people do that, right? A lot of people, Casey, fall into that trap because of what they can get as a result of showing up in the world this way. Now, neither you nor Brad nor I or the other fabulous guests that you've had on the show, and I know the lineup that you've got coming up is just absolutely incredible. And I urge you folks, you wonderful people out there listening and finding this program, that you are here for a reason. You are here. This is not by accident. You've been drawn to this program because there's something either I'm going to say, that Brad's going to say, that Casey's going to say, that some of the other leaders on the show are going to say, that are going to be exactly what you need to hear. Right. And maybe you've heard it all before, but this is going to be something that you're drawn to the show for a specific reason. Okay. What is that reason on today's show? Well, what I'm going to share with you is that this challenging time that we're in is a challenge for everyone. However, challenges equal opportunities. Okay. Challenges equal opportunities. as a Marine, as a police officer, as a trial lawyer, as a singer and recording artist, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as in everything I've done has posed challenges. Even just being a kid has posed challenges, being a kid, such that I wanted to commit suicide at 17. And if you go back and look at the previous recording, the previous show interview that I did with Brad and Casey, you'll hear that story. I'm not going to go into those details right now. However, every aspect of our lives, every season of our lives, whether we're in our teens right now, you're in high school, you're in college, you're a young parent, you're a single parent, you're in your middle years, you're in your senior years, you're an executive, you're non-executive, wherever you are, whatever season you find yourself in life, you're going to have a challenge. And the reason we have challenges is so that we can make the choice to step up and make a new decision in the face of that challenge. We can either, a lot of people do this, and you're seeing a lot of people do this right now in your world. A lot of people will just step back and they'll say, oh my gosh, this is insurmountable. This is overwhelming. I can't deal with it. I'm just going to, go to sleep for a while. I'm just going to start drinking some more, or let me take some more pills, or let me go, and just go somewhere so that I don't have to think about these things, so that I don't have to deal with them. Now, that's one way of doing it. And if that works for you, and if you are happy there, I'm the last person that's going to say, no, you're stupid. You shouldn't be doing that. And don't do that. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm here because if you're watching this show, I'm going to believe that you want a change, that you want something to show up in your life different. But guess what? If you want something to show up in your life different, we need to take responsibility for what is going on around us. Oh, Steve, so you're saying that I'm responsible for the virus? Well, yes and no. We're not going to get into that right now because we don't have that much time. However, you are responsible for what you do about it, right? The virus is here. We can't do anything about it right now unless you're a scientist and a researcher and you're in the pharmaceutical companies and you're in the labs and you're trying to find a cure for this thing, whatever it is. I don't even know. There's so much confusing information about where it's derived from, its impact, where it's going, all this stuff, how long it's been around, man-made, animal-made, nature-made, who knows? I don't know. All I know is that I've got a family to take care of. I've got my wife. I've got my coworkers. I've got my colleagues. I've got my clients. I've got people that look up to me and are depending on me for answers and solutions to how do we get through this? Okay, so that's what I'm here to do. I'm going to help you how to get through this. Recognize also that everyone at some point in their life has to come to a point of making a new choice about what they're doing in their career, in their relationship, about their health and fitness, everyone. Okay, because nothing stays static. We're always evolving, we're always changing. And as those evolutions and changes come about in our lives, we are presented with new scenarios, with new challenges, with new obstacles, right? We plateau perhaps in our career. However, because of this virus situation, we've all found ourselves in this scenario at the same time, right? And that's like very weird. Usually you've heard of people making these quote unquote life changes when they reach this period of midlife crisis, as they say. And if you're a baby boomer, you know exactly what that is. If you're a Gen Z or millennial or something, you might not know what a midlife crisis is. And it's that point in someone's life. It was usually in their 50s and 60s when they decided to start asking new questions about who they were, where they belong, why they're doing what they're doing, and then making changes upon those questions. And the people on the other side of those questions, the people that were being impacted by the new decisions that we were all making, they started calling, oh, you're in your midlife crisis because now you're working out and you're taking care of yourself and you're, starting to look good and you're experiencing life and you're taking dancing lessons and you're going and getting fitness classes and you're learning how to play the guitar and riding a red sports car and all these things. People attacked that life change and they labeled it as a midlife crisis. And the people that went through that transformation, that morphosis, what's the word I'm looking? Is it? Metamorphosis, okay? you know, um, we made fun of those people. And then comes along the time that you become one of those people. But what I say is that that midlife crisis, that questioning of your life should happen when we're in our 20s, not wait till we're in our 40s, 50s, 60s and we've developed this pattern, we've gotten into these routines and just way of doing things that never really served us, right? We got into the wrong careers, we got into the wrong relationships simply because all my girlfriends are getting married and having babies, and so I'm going to go out and find a husband and have babies. Yet you never really had a chance to explore who you were, to learn about yourself and find out, do you really want to be a parent, right? Because a lot of people don't. They have the babies because of a night of intimacy, a night of, joy, a night of frivolity, whatever it was, right? All of a sudden, guess what, Bob? We're having a baby. And Bob's like, oh my gosh, my whole life changes like this in a second as a result of a previous action and activity, right? And so a lot of us are thrust into careers, relationships, living situations, where we live as a result of being forced by circumstances. And many of us made the choice to be where we are right now. However, we're always asking ourselves, or a lot of us ask ourselves, why did I make this choice? Is this really where I want to be? And if that's you right now, which I suspect it is, because if you're stuck at home, you can no longer go to work and do the daily thing that you used to do. You can no longer stop at Starbucks or St. Arbucks, as one of my mentors likes to say. You can no longer stop at St. Arbucks every morning and spend $6 on a coffee that you could have made at home for $1. And in other words, your routine has been disrupted. The people that you go to and work with, your colleagues, the things that you did on a day-to-day basis, mostly complained about, right? We went to our jobs and said, what the heck am I doing here? And the bosses just loaded me up with work and so we hated it, but it was part of our lives. It's what we did. And to do something different, we never even thought about it. Perhaps we dreamed about it, we fantasized about it, but yet we never really did anything about it. This is a forced time. It's a time of forced analysis, as I like to say. That's a good way to put it. We are all now in a season of forced analysis where we are being asked to, as a result of what's going on around us, we're being asked to quarantine ourselves, or as I like to say, I'm under house arrest because I can't go anywhere. We're forced under house arrest or quarantine and being now asked to, redesign who we are. Redesign how we want to show up in the world, redesign what we're going to do, how we're going to make our money, how we're going to make our living. And it's a perfect time. If you look at it in that way, it's such a wonderful time because these are things that you wanted to do. These are things you thought about doing, but because everything was so good, you just, let the status quo run. I'm fine for right now. And we put all these dreams and desires about elevating ourselves and doing something different, finding different ways to serve the world with our skills and our talents. We put them all on the back burner. And so this challenging time that we find ourselves in is the perfect time to step into a new opportunity. Now, the challenge for most people, Casey, is not that they don't know what there is to do. Because I think everyone, if you've lived long enough on this planet, if you're, 7, 10 years old and you've held an iPhone in your hand, you know that there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff to do. Kids, teens, younger teens, middle-aged kids, not middle-aged kids, but middle school kids, right? Kids that are 7, 8, 9 years old, they're making millions of dollars on YouTube accounts simply by opening gifts. Right? Opening packages, opening toys and reviewing the toys, throwing them against the wall to see if they break, right? And kids are just flocking to these shows because they're entertaining, they're interesting, they're informative. And as a result, these kids that are producing these shows, obviously with the help of the parents, are making some money. lots of money in some cases. So if you've grown up in the digital world, you know that you're not stuck going to the grind job of going to the factory. That's not all there is to life anymore. The whole world is an opportunity just waiting for you to step into it. Now, because there are so many opportunities, this is where the real challenge lies. It's like, Brad and Casey, you go to your favorite restaurant and it's, if the menu is 50 pages long, right? It's like, heck, how do you even choose what you want? Right? That's the most difficult part. So we choose to go to restaurants where the menu is, here's lunch, dinner on the backside, and maybe a little bit of breakfast items. Boom. Why? We love those places because it makes it easy, right? And we also can trust that the kitchen doesn't have to worry about, you know, being an expert at creating several hundred different meals. They just focus on these and they focus on making these the very best. So the challenge is that there are too many opportunities. So how do you get over that? How do you take all of these opportunities that you have in front of you and decide which one to pursue? There are a lot of people on social media saying, hey, you can do this now. Come do this. Come write your book. I've got this course. I've got that course. Before you dive into any of that, my suggestion is that you sit down and gain some clarity about, number one, who you are. And who you are is not what other people think you are. Who you are is who you think you are. That's what's important. What other people think you are is based upon your the way you show up in those different environments. In other words, I go to the office, I behave one way. I go to the gym with my buddies and we're working out around the weight machine, I behave another way. I go play basketball with my buddies after work, or I go to happy hour, I behave another way. In other words, every environment that we put ourselves in is an opportunity for us to show up different. So how do you want to show up in this next generation of you, in this next evolution of you? If you've been working for a company and you really don't like that job, you don't see yourself in there long term, maybe your company's already decided, you know what, we have to fire everyone, and you don't feel that you want to go back if the doors ever reopen, or you feel like that's it, now it's time to make a new decision, the first thing to do is sit down, make a list, and whether you do it on your iPad, on your phone, on your computer, or if you're old school like me, you still like to use pen and paper, and I love brand new pads, writing pads, to sketch my ideas and make notes and those kinds of things. Make a list of the things that you want to do. Don't worry about, can I make money at it yet? That's editing, okay? Just make a list. I love, I enjoy, I like. Okay, those are like 3 categories. A lot of people say, oh, I love horses. I love animals. I love food. I love perfumes. Like yesterday, I had a guy on social media say, I love perfumes, Steve, but I'm a guy, and what do I do with that? I gave him a long list of things that he could do with that and gave him clarity, okay? So what are the things that you love? Make a list of them. Don't edit anything. I love people. I love writing. I love speaking. I love dancing. I love music. I love guitar. I love piano. Okay. What are the things that you enjoy? Well, I enjoy playing Frisbee. I enjoy playing golf. I enjoy playing baseball. I enjoy watching football. I enjoy this, cooking and baking and whatever it is, right? Make that list. And then what are the things you like? Well, I like talking to others. I like, critiquing, writing reviews. I like watching certain programs, right? So you'll have these 3 levels of the things that you are active in or have been active in or want to be active in. Now, once you have that list, you can go down and say, okay, where do I really want to spend my time? In other words, if I had to choose, let's say 3 things, right? Maybe you have a list of 100 items that you love, enjoy, and like. Let's say that if you had to choose, if you were being forced to choose, okay, on this list, pick 3 items. What will those items be? Let's say that those items are, well, I love the kitchen. I love cooking and baking. And I enjoy watching television food programs. Okay. Well, what that would signal to me is that maybe there's an opportunity, not even maybe, there's an opportunity for you to create your own show, your own YouTube show, your own show on Vimeo, and or on LinkedIn, or I don't know that a lot of people know, but Amazon has training programs now. You can go to Amazon platform, which I think the whole world uses. I know we do. And I just recently found out about a couple of weeks ago that Amazon actually has view or customer sourced training programs. There's fitness programs, there's cooking shows, and those kinds of things. And so what you want to do is see, okay, well then, if I want to develop a cooking show on YouTube, um, what other kind of shows are out there that are successful? Exactly. Exactly. So it's very easy to go to YouTube, to go to Google and search for, whatever it is that you want to be doing. And then, for example, let's get back to this cooking show idea. Um, if that's you, then decide in your realm of expertise, even if you don't consider yourself an expert, in the realm of what you love to do in the kitchen, what is like your favorite thing? Is it chocolate chip cookies? Is it banana bread? Is it pumpkin pie? Or is it something perhaps more fanciful and gourmet meals? Select one and just start preparing it on camera. And it doesn't have to be perfect. There are lots and lots of programs and information available on how to shoot with your iPhone, with your Android phone. You don't need a fancy DSLR setup. You don't need fancy lights. I mean, look at me right now. I'm just using my laptop computer. This is what I use a lot to record my videos and communicate with my clients and audiences and Zoom calls. And I did invest in this really cool microphone rig because one of the things that you want to do to stand up from the crowd, and if you're going to do this as a career and as a professional, is you do want to sound your very best. You do want to look your very best, but you don't have to start there. I didn't start there. I started just pointing my phone at my face and speaking into it, not caring about whether there would wind noise or people behind me or, anything like that. But then the more you get to doing these things, yes, ma'am.
I want to support you on this, Steve, because we have a television network that people have programs on. And one of the things that we tell everybody is be yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect. People like the quirks and the personalities and a little bit of the attitudes. They like that. We've moved away from the perfectly rehearsed, staged stuff, on television, to a lot of the free-flowing stuff. Everybody who has a show on our network, they'll ask us, well, what am I supposed to do? And we're like, do you. Like you said, sound and lighting, and then anything goes. As quirky as you can make it, as fun as you can make it. On our platform, it has to be family friendly, so I always have to watch my own language because I was raised by a Marine. But I wanted to jump in there and support you because 1,000% of what you're talking about, you are absolutely correct on.
Thank you for that. And this is your show. You can jump in anytime, right? I'm a guest in your house. Yeah, so you just jump in anytime. So anyway, so getting back to the show, and then you don't need a gourmet kitchen, nothing fancy, right? I do recommend 3 things, okay? Get a little selfie stick that has a tripod on it. It's called a tripod selfie stick, and they're all over Amazon now, and they're very inexpensive. Use that so that you could prop up your phone on the counter as it allows you to free your hands as you go ahead and prepare what it is you're preparing. I mean, there are people making awesome videos just making milkshakes and protein shakes and vegetarian food and, making little crackers with different stuff on them and stuff there are 7+ billion people in the world. There is an audience for whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's all the way to the left, whether it's all the way to the right, whether it's, high value, whether it's, like cornball, just like, where did that come from kind of humor. There's an audience for everything that you're doing. Okay. So this is what I'm suggesting to you, is that you take what you love, enjoy, and like. And from that, you now have a roadmap from which to say, okay, I think I can make money on this. And if you want to learn how to make money at whatever it is on those lists, just do some research. I want to make money making tomahawks or carving knives or, something like that. Somebody out there is doing it somewhere in the world. So it's easy to find. Another thing that you can do is freelance. Everyone has a skill. I'll say that. Everyone has a skill. No, Steve, no, you have a skill. But I just go to work and I have this job and I'm just a secretary. I'm just an admin. I just answer phones. That's a skill. That's a skill. If you know how to answer phones and you know how to address people's questions, if you know how to route them to the right answers, guess what? You could run a call center, right? You could teach how to run a call center. You could teach how to answer phones. Because nowadays, with everything, think about it. If everything going in-house, everything going digital, and everything going to people working from homes, or a lot of things going to people working from homes here in the future, we're there now. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that have never had to answer the phone because they've had a receptionist do it for them. So you can teach them, you can create videos, you can create ebooks on how to simply answer the phone, how to deal with customer service questions if that's what you've been doing, how to take paper, piles and piles of paper, documents, forms, and those kinds of things that you've had in the office, and scan them and digitize them. You could teach that. You could freelance, whatever it is your skill is. If it's photography, if it's design, if it's writing, copywriting, writing books, ghostwriting books, go to Fiverr. There's a source on the web called Fiverr. And also, I think the other one is WeWork. Is it WeWork? Upwork. It's Upwork. Upwork. WeWork is a brick and mortar business. Upwork used to be something else. Anyway, it's an online platform where everybody, or a lot of people, are taking their skills to and offering themselves, and you can bill what you want. You can $15 an hour, $40 an hour, $100 an hour, just doing what it is that you love to do. It could be a simple.
I got a friend of mine. She's young. She's in her early 20s, and she said to me, she doesn't want to sit in her house, and she loves to be able to just get out and do things. So she is advertising herself through Facebook to anybody who wants her to go to the market for them.
Look at that.
That's what she's doing it all day long. So she's like, she just keeps going back to the market, or she gets into the other markets. And because she'd rather be doing that than at home, she doesn't have the fear of the virus for her own self, but plenty of other people do. And I'm like, look at you. And she's like, yeah, a bunch of the young kids are kind of doing that now. They've offered themselves up to a particular age group in the community who don't understand how to order the stuff online, because some of the markets are letting you do that online, but this is a particular age group that they just aren't savvy that way. And I'm like, I just love this girl, but yeah, what is it? What's your niche? She just took what she recognized in her own self, and being at home is, I can't stand being at home, and I can only go to the market so many times for my own self. And she was like, but I could go to the market for everybody else. So, and she's making her money like that right now.
Exactly. And that's the kind of entrepreneurial, don't be afraid of I'm not an entrepreneur. Forget the word, forget the label. Just go out and, like you said, Casey, she is serving, right? She just find a way that you can serve. And I know that you have it into you, because you can either, like I said, you can answer phones, you can write, you can design, you can photograph, you can sing. If you can sing a song, you can go on Fiverr for $5 people will buy you singing a song that they can then send to someone. And it doesn't have to be a complex song. If you play simple guitar or piano, they'll buy that song so that they could have a video of it so they could send to their grandma because it's grandma's favorite song. And grandma's locked in and doesn't know what to do. She can't go to the casino and do those things that grandmas do anymore. So there's so many things. But the trick is, don't think that you have to become an entrepreneur because entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Don't think that you have to start a new business, right? Because that's just daunting. It's like, oh my God, how do I need permits? Do I need legal? Do I need accounting? No, forget about starting a business. Forget about becoming an entrepreneur. Think about serving, because at the end of the day, and the bottom line is, it doesn't matter, or as I'd like to say, don't confuse what you do with who you are. A lot of people will say, I'm a lawyer. That's all I know. I'm a doctor. I'm a cab driver. I'm a cashier. I'm a computer scientist. I'm a whatever it is. They think that becomes their identity and they think that's who they are. No, that's not who you are. Who you are is a compassionate human being who loves others and who is here to serve. Now, the distinction is you can serve the community as a lawyer, you can serve as a doctor, you can serve as a cab driver, you can serve as a waitress, you can serve as a computer scientist. That's how you show up. That's how you serve. So if you just take all the other labels away, you are here to serve. So just think, how can I serve my neighbors? I spoke to a client of mine the week before last, who was concerned. He's a private chef. He can't go into his clients' homes and prepare meals for them anymore. So I said, how about this? In the community that you live, in the city that you live, there are apartment complexes where everybody's on lockdown. Most of the people have the groceries they need to prepare their meals. However, people are still wanting something different. People are still wanting to go out. So how about creating a go out experience for them? How do I do that? Go to the apartment building, call the management, say, introduce yourself. I'm a private chef. I'd like to set up an evening where, let's say Tuesday night, you, apartment building management people, can announce to your audience, which is the apartment dwellers, right, your residents, that we have sourced for you a private chef that is going to put together a gourmet meal, and you have your choice of chicken, beef, or veggie, right, meals, whatever, plus dessert and whatever. It'll be delivered here on Tuesday night. Those of you that are interested, sign up, pay in advance, right? And so now the chef has this thing that, wow, next week I'm preparing meals in advance for a group of people that are locked down in their apartments, can't go anywhere because the restaurants are all them whatever, for whatever reason. Some of them are closed altogether and some are too far to drive, whatever. But you're giving them a different experience. And the apartment management is also allowed to be the hero because now they get to say to their tenants, look what we're doing for you. We're trying to make your life better. We're trying to bring you joy in this little way. And they're partnering up with this chef, right? Or they're partnering up with food trucks, right? In the community we live in South Denver, it's a closed community, but very large. And so the community has brought in food trucks. Now, I'm pretty sure a couple of those food trucks did exactly what I said to my chef friend, contacted management and say, hey, can we come on your property, right? And just make ourselves available to bring joy to the people, because food is joy. It's connection. It's fun. It's something different. So there's always something that you can do. Again, don't be stymied. Don't be overwhelmed. Don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed by all of the opportunities. Sit down and make that list. Get yourself some clarity. And from that list, that's where you move forward to.
Well, thank you, Steve, for those specifics, because I agree. We could all sit here and say, well, I could be doing something, I don't know what to do, but how do I get there? You know, we lack sometimes those definitive tools of even self-discovery, of course, and finding the answers to is an action of empowerment for people. You know, it's
Correct.
all learning that I have answers. I maybe always felt that all my answers, I relied on everybody else for my answers. I get to create my own field here. We have said throughout this programming that this is a time of extreme opportunities for people. We have all chosen to be here at this time in this timeline to unleash ourselves. That's our motto, okay? And everybody that we're bringing here on this program is bringing the message, let's get this thing going. Let's move through this. Let's not focus on this thing over here that is this really negative, impending, fear-based thing. There's always another way. There's always golden nuggets in any given situation, depending on your perception, which is exactly why we bring people like Steve onto the show, with his talents and his energy and his kindness and wisdom and patience. Steve, thank you, because you've spent a great deal of your valuable time in the way that you coach people and nurture people for this broadcast. Could you please share with everybody how they could funnel themselves closer to you, how they can find a deeper connection and get more information about your services, please?
I would love people to funnel themselves closer to me as long as you stay at least 6 feet away. Because I don't want to get in trouble from the government by not, enforcing that rule. And this is hard for me because I love people, and in my I was born in Chile, so I'm Latino, and we hug, when we meet someone else, especially whether it's a stranger or not, we hug, hey, and so it's been difficult for me, but I'm married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, and I get to hug her multiple times a day, so I still get my hugs in. But it can be difficult. And so if you want to connect with me, if you want to chat with me, the best way to do it is through Facebook. Just go to steviegsuccess.com or Steve Gallegos, and you'll see my smiling face. Connect with me there, and we can chat on Messenger. And if the situation requires it, we can get on a Zoom call. And just get you whatever information it is that you need, whether you want coaching or you just want simple advice, you want a quick question answered, I'm happy to do that. The other way to follow me is if you just want to, more of a social distancing or digital distancing kind of connection with me, is on Instagram. My Instagram channel, Stevie G Success, is really where just I post my wisdom and experiential messages and just advice that you can just, look at, take it, and run from there. But if you want to connect one-on-one in person, Facebook right now is the way to do that. My website is steviegsuccess.com. And, again, one last note on this is, don't think that people like me and Casey and Brad don't have to pivot. It's all about pivoting. I can no longer go into the corporate environments and deliver training or meet face-to-face with clients. So I am taking my knowledge and I'm creating digital courses, and I set up my account on Teachable, where I'm going to offer my courses on self-mastery, communication mastery, relationship mastery, how to network in a digital world, because now we're being forced to communicate with each other differently. We're not going to see, for a while anyway, the networking breakfasts and the luncheons and the happy hour, networkings, etc., where we can go and exchange business cards. So it's like, how do we do that? How do we connect with someone in a digital world? I got a class on that, and also another one called Speak to Win, more clients, commissions, and contracts, because that's really, if you want to make an impact on the world and generate income from it, you need to learn how to communicate and how to speak. So those are the things I'm doing, but I get to now stand in front of my camera and a whiteboard, just here, no fancy studio or anything, just, go for the training. And so we're all having to do that. So welcome to the club, and embrace this time in your lives. And let's do this, people. We can, and you will. You'll look back on this 10 years from now, and you go, whoa, I did it.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve, so much for, again, your energy and your words. I want to thank all of you for joining us for another episode. of COVID-19, the opportunities you didn't think of, we here at Xpnsion Network are sending you love, energy, honor, inspiration, expansion in every aspect of your life. Try to stay away from that fear energy. It just isn't good for you. Bring out your superpowers, your smile on your face, and your love in your life. Until next time, we'll see you then.